on the current patch. And with the way LWX has been performing with this Kaisa, I'm not surprised to see that going over.
Crisp is in absolute shambles. His Rell has been taken away from him. He's going to be in tears as Beishang goes for the Udyr. Stronger on the patch. Olaf is the answer, and we are rocketing through this draft as an Alistar is locked in as well.
Yeah, so the Olaf is kind of the go-to answer for Udyr in a lot of situations. He said the Alistar, brilliant into Rell, really good counter pick, and sets up very nicely for this Kaisa as well. On the opposite side, the Samira coming in, a great partner for that Rell. You get so much survivability coming off the increased magic resist and that armor. Does mean you're a little bit... You're not in the best of positions in this bottom lane though, because Missing can't really engage onto the Alistar. He's got the Pulverize to stop the engage and can turn this around fairly easily. So from that perspective, WE need to get some help from Beishang to get Jiumeng rolling on the Samira, or he just falls into a position where he can't really get ahead and isn't as obnoxious as you would hope this Rell to, or sorry, not this Rell, this Samira even to be.
Yeah, and I mean, Jiumeng is certainly known for his Samira, but the Kaisa has been his big pick. He's played 7 games of Kaisa this split, as has LWX, who's going to be the one that gets it in this trade. But looking towards the bans here, I'm a little bit worried about Shanks Dagda, because Orianna was the big favorite. 9 Orianna picks this split. The next highest is on 3 pick for Syndra. So could go for the Syndra, but realistically, Syndra's not been that great of a mid laner as of late.
Yeah, I mean, Syndra's been struggling in the LPL and kind of globally, so... And the thing is, as well, you're playing against Doinb, so even if you go towards the Syndra here, think, okay, cool, we've got the nice, easy pick for us, he'll bring out something crazy. Like, he has so many weird picks. But it looks like we're getting a bit of a Shanks classic from the LDL. He was a massive Cassiopeia player in that LDL, so now we're seeing that brought in. But it's a bit of a weird fit into the WE draft because everything else on WE wants to go in, whereas Cassiopeia kind of feels safer when she's using the ultimate as that bit of a disengage tool and trying to play with the enemy team running into her.
Well, looking over towards Doinb, the Rumble will be locked in here, and this is the classic dark technology, right? We've been seeing Rumble, we've been seeing Renekton mid, we've been seeing Kled mid. It feels like Doinb is just fully enjoying where he's at in the world right now. And Breathe goes for Irelia already. Dagda, we got a spicy game on our hands.
This is a brilliant counter pick for Breathe. You can do so much work against this Gnar where you're able to dive in on top of him. The only thing is, you do need some help early from this jungle. You need Beishang to give you a little bit of control, because if you try to go in aggressive and Tian shows up, you're in way too deep as this Irelia and have the ability to be shut down. So certainly expect Beishang to be playing towards this top side early to give Breathe a bit of, like, no pun intended, but breathing space, and then move down towards Jiumeng and Missing in this bottom lane. Because as we said, Samira needs to get rolling early.
And on the other side, you've got FPX, who play towards bot lane literally every game no matter what, because Doinb will push out the mid wave, and then he will go for the dive with that equalizer. So keep your eyes on Doinb in the mid lane and where he ends up roaming, because roaming is the name of the game for FPX. But I'm excited for this one, Dagda. We got an Irelia on one of the most mechanically gifted top laners we have in the league. I think Breathe is an exceptionally underhyped player for how talented he is, and I cannot wait to see what he's able to pull out, because he's against Nuguri. Let's not underestimate how great of a player Nuguri is. He will know this matchup well, and Breathe will have his work cut out. If he gets some kind of kill onto Nuguri here, it will be a huge moment for Breathe and the potential that he shows.
And that's the thing about Nuguri, is that Nuguri has been managing to get these advantages in matchups where he doesn't even deserve to get it. Like, he'll be in a counter matchup and still come out a lane ahead. It's why his average CS lead at 15 minutes is 28. He averages a 28 CS lead at 15 minutes. That is absolutely insane. But this is the thing, like, especially in a pick like Gnar, where you have the ability to bully, and it very much comes down to how the Irelia plays it, how well she can get in on top of you. Nuguri is going to be primed to try and play against this, and maybe he could actually end up getting the lead again, especially if we get some help from Tian in these early stages.
I'll have to wait and see as the recalls come on through here, just getting a bit of early vision on that bottom side of the map. But let's not forget, you can see at the top of your screen, this is the second place team in the LPL at 7-1 for FPX, up against number 4 for WE. But I just want to reiterate something we mentioned before. WE, They were 5-0. Their 3 most recent series have been losses. They've had a 2-week break for Chinese New Year. Are they back on form? Have they managed to fix the issues that we were seeing so prevalently?
Well, this game is going to be a real test for them, and you can see actually there from the rune choices that at least WE want to fight. There was a lot of taste of blood and Ravenous Hunter in those in the rune choices there, so certainly they're going to be looking to trade heavily in these lanes, and I think that's right. I mean, when you're looking at Shanks, who basically just wants to try and shove Doinb in all the live long day, Breathe as well, we talked about wanting to get in on towards this Gnar and get it as aggressive as possible. These are the rune choices that they need to be taking to go on top of FPX and pushing these early leads.
Now, I want to quickly talk about Shanks for a second here, and then we'll talk about junglers and stuff, I'm sure, and get into the game a little bit more. But Shanks was a player coming in this year as a rookie, and he was technically on the WE roster last year, but mostly still just playing on the Academy squad for WE. He's been with the Academy squad for WE only for a year. He started at the start of 2020. But when there were whisperings of him replacing Teacherman, there was talk of him stepping in 2020. Good bit of damage in this bottom lane. Great trade onto Jiumeng there. The clip that surfaced, there was this big quadra kill clip from Shanks, and it was him on the Cassiopeia, and the positioning was beautiful. His ults are beautiful. I cannot wait. We finally get to see this on the stage. I've been wanting to see this basically the whole time Shanks has been playing.
Yeah, it is like what Shanks was known for, and you can already see he's doing a great job in this mid lane. Shoved in Doinb fully, now starting to push up, get some control for Beishang up towards this early Rift Herald, or a Rift Scuttler even. Because you can see both junglers start on the opposite side of the map, so it will be a trade of sides, but it just means that Beishang at least is here to try and support Breathe in the early stages, and give this Irelia the ability to get aggressive and try and push his advantage towards Nuguri.
So Beishang up on the top side, but he's spotted on the ward there, so we'll just have to move over as Tian focused on the bottom side of the map. They're just going to trade scuttles here, so very standard start, very slow start. Both of them junglers that are quite happy to snowball for these Drakes as well. When you think of things like the Udyr and the Olaf, these are the kind of junglers that are happy to just go for a solo Drake as well. So Tian just going to get himself a ward onto the Gromp. So once we get towards that 5-minute mark, keep your eyes on these junglers, but again, with this Rumble, you'd anticipate that maybe FPX will be the ones with an advantage for the Drake.
It's kind of hard to say, because honestly it comes down a lot to the lanes as to who's going to be in control. Like, you're looking now at Tian moving back towards his top side, so he will be pathing bot, but honestly with the pushback that you're seeing for Jiumeng and missing, he could try and just use the lane reset to try and get the dragon for himself, but with a minute left and Jiumeng and missing being a back down, chances are FPX will return down towards this bottom lane, and with Tian moving into that bottom side as well, should be able to get that dragon. But it's all kind of fun and games trying to match the pressure from these lanes.
It's not fun and games to Breathe though, as he's just getting absolutely manhandled by Nuguri on the top side. That Mega Gnar does mean that the skirmishing is exceptionally strong on the side of Nuguri here. Breathe just has to go, make sure that he's respecting and drop a ward there. Shanks has basically no mana. Tian moving in though, wants to steal himself a chicken, has the smite and doesn't get it. Beishang just gets it with an auto in the end.
So I spotted on the minimap, it wasn't on the screen. Crisp has a hero playing that bot lane. He actually stopped Jiumeng from basing. So Jiumeng is now stuck in lane, having not based, and is now going to be in a really bad spot for any sort of plays that happen around this bottom side. And for Samira, as we said, who wants to try and snowball, that's actually a massive play for Crisp to stop that base.
Missing's returning to the lane. LWX has to be a little bit careful because you can see on the minimap, Crisp is over with Tian. One of the big questions we had coming into this series is how well will the jungler and support play together, but forget that. Beishang's moving up towards the top side. Breathe is low. Nuguri about to turn into Mega Gnar. They do have to be careful. And I think realizing they can't actually take this one. If Nuguri goes Mega, he could maybe 2v1. Maybe I'm completely wrong because Beishang wants to take him on. Flash away from Nuguri. Nicely done by Beishang. It's going to be flash for flash.
Yeah, if the dragon is going across the FPX while this is all going on though, so honestly, I mean, you're still doing Nuguri things. Getting all this pressure gifted over towards you, but still coming out with a win. Now, obviously the flash being burnt, not ideal. It does give a lot of pressure towards Breathe, but to be fair, you're still getting answers across the map as FPX.
Yeah, nicely done here. I mean, we talked about they would love to go for the early Drake. They'd love to stack up these Drakes. The big question for me is, what does Doinb do? Because he's hit level 6, he's head back to base, he's reset, he can shove this wave, and then he can get out onto the map. And what do you think when you think of FPX? You think of bot lane dives in the early game.
You can see in the replay, he took a heap of damage from Shanks. Actually had to burn that exhaust to try and play it safe. But he should have the opportunity, if he wants to get down towards this bottom lane. Like, remember I was saying, like, FPX love these little advantages? Well, you've now stopped the back from Jiumeng thanks to Crisp. He's only just recalled. He's lost a heap of CS. And now Doinb, off of this potential wave crash, could go in towards this bot side. But it looks like with Udyr being in position and Tian looking to reset, they're actually not going to go for the dive. But these are the little advantages that FPX build up that suddenly rise to this massive crescendo in a team fight where they've just built up all these different objectives.
I just want to quickly talk about the 1v1 we saw there between Doinb and Shanks, and not necessarily about the mechanics of it or anything like that, just the confidence. It's so good to see Shanks looking at the situation and going, it doesn't matter that I'm up against Doinb, it doesn't matter my performance so far in the LPL. What matters is I'm Cassiopeia, that's the Rumble, I have the opportunity, and I'm going to try for the solo kill, because that is exactly what we have been missing from Shanks on WE. And even if the kill doesn't go through in the end, just showing that he wants to make that play is already an improvement in my mind.
The problem I've had with Shanks, though, isn't really his early laning phase. I actually think his early lane phase has been pretty good. The issue that I have with Shanks is when we get out of the laning phase and we start to look towards team fights. And that's where his positioning starts to fall, and especially in champions like Orianna, where his ball positioning has been a big question mark for me as well. So certainly on a champion like Cassiopeia, where he's kind of got like less to worry about, I think it'll have a better time. But I want to see how this Shanks is going to operate when we get to team fights, not just in this laning phase.
Breathe keeps on pushing on up. He has a mammoth minion wave to work with here, but we'll just have to back away. Herald is on the map, and it looks like Beishang wants to start this one off, so Breathe can move on down. Tian was on the same side of the map, but I don't think there's any realistic way for him to contest, because the bot lane moved up and LWX is still only at the Dragon Pit, so I don't think FPX can get in there. But never underestimate FPX is what I say, because Tian is here. Nuguri's moving down. Crisp here as well, but he's going to be knocked up and should just be taken down. No level 6 just yet, and there's first blood for WE, fighting over this Herald, and they should be able to finish this one off with ease. Nicely done by our red side team.
Yeah, strange contest from FPX. Like, Nuguri just got exhausted, so he wasn't going to be able to get in. As you said, LWX was only scuttering his way up towards that lane, so I'm not sure why FPX tried to contest that. I would have preferred to see LWX just stay bot, shove in, get some terror plays for himself, and look to trade the Rift Herald. But you can see in this top lane, the second Breathe hits 6, this matchup entirely changes. That's when Breathe has kill pressure, and Nuguri's playing so far back, not wanting to touch this Irelia.
It's one of those situations where Irelia just, if you've got stacks, you can 1v1 anyone. You can just go for any old fight. And WE, they're about to discover any odd fight in this bottom side, because we've got junglers coming on down. Chris starts to engage onto Jiumeng, but he survived and he's level 6, stacking up his passive here. Both junglers are here. Doinb arriving. Beishang has to try and play the defense here, but the equalizer comes in, missing the target. They knock him up and should be able to take him down, but it's actually Chris to go down first. It's complete chaos in the bottom side, but Jiumeng falls with Doinb grabbing himself a double kill, and he wants to turn it into a little bit more. LWX comes one. Goes down for his trouble. It was actually Nuguri that went down. But all things considered, we're 3 for 3 on the scoreboard, and it's the kind of chaos that I wanted to see.
This is what FPX do best. They go for these dives. And unfortunately for WE, they just didn't have the ammunition to follow up. Nuguri gets the TP advantages and uses a bot, but he does go down in the play. So Breathe, trading for a lot of that gold on the top side. And as an Irelia, when you're getting such a significant lead over Nuguri, you have the potential to just become a massive side lane split push. And you see here, FPX go for the dive, but no level 6 on the Alistar means with the CC from that Udyr, Crisp goes down straight away. And then even though they're trying to juggle this aggro, I don't think they expected Nuguri to pick that up, because in mini-Gnar form, you're just as squishy as an AD carry. And with all that ramp-up damage, it's just 2 shots and Nuguri's dead.
Yeah, but when we look at the scoreboard right now, the advantage still for WE. Being able to trade somewhat there, while Breathe gets a massive CS lead and a tower plate on the top side, means that coming into this Drake, there is a minor advantage for WE. Whether or not they can transition, that is a different question. They're going to try at very least as they start this Ocean Drake off. But you can see Tian on his Raptors right now, perhaps deciding this is just not something he can contest. Drake goes down. WE walk away with it. So one Drake apiece now. And this is what we wanted to see, Dagda. WE matching the pace somewhat, but missing could be in trouble. Maybe it's just Rell. Maybe Rell is the answer. Whoever has Rell, they're the ones that win the early game.
I mean, look, it's definitely a very strong pick, but I don't know how good it's going to be if you're looking to dive with crisp level 6. Beishang is behind, though.
Jiumeng's in a lot of trouble right here, trying to stack his passive, but just taken down too damn quick. LWX takes one tower shot, missing with the Hex Flash. We'll be able to survive for now. The minions arriving, and there's no wave here for FPX. They can't really just continue this dive endlessly. And actually, Beishang going to force a flash out from Crisp. I think that may have been the Hex Flash, actually. But they survive. That's the key thing. WE hold on.
Again, though, they're just ramping up kills. Top side, though. No follow-up there on Breathe onto Nuguri, but FPX are getting plays bot side. They're answering a lot of the CS deficits that we're seeing in top, in mid, thanks to all these plays that are happening bot. And Jiumeng on this Samira, like, Samira sucks when she's behind. It is terrible time, because you've got no kill pressure.
Breathe is going in for the 1v1, forces the flash from Nuguri. And that's going to have to be all he can force on this one. But hey, you take that Vanguard's Edge for a flash is a trade that Breathe is going to take every single day of the week.
And it makes him so much more vulnerable to the likes of Beishang in this top lane. Actually looks like they might just follow up on this. Rift Herald is popped and Nuguri overextended.
Kind of a weird Herald placement though, just slamming it in the lane while the wave is arriving. It gives a lot of time for FPX to answer the play. You can see on the minimap, they maybe go towards this bottom side, but Tian is up here already. So should just get the charge. Breathe needs to get in range so he can grab some of that gold as well. We'll be able to... No, he didn't. I don't think he was in range for that. I'm pretty sure Beishang got all of the gold for those two plays.
Yeah, this was a really weird passage play. I actually think Beishang might have forgot he had the Rift Herald. I think he was trying to sweep. Because that was a... like,
or he forgot that there's an enemy jungler.
Yeah, and then I honestly would have expected him to just gun it into that top lane, see if he can pick off Nuguri. No flash. Hop would have been on a fairly short cooldown and Breathe can follow up. But yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there for WE.
Oh, Beishang. Not like this. Well, you know what? It happens to all of us, right? Everyone occasionally tries to hit this sweep and just drops a Herald. Every time I autofill jungle, I do that. So if I do it in my solo queue games, that must mean it's reasonable for profesionals at the highest level of the top four in the LPL.
Did you just compare your autofilled jungle to Beishang?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. And you know what? I stick by that fact. My autofill jungle is exceptional. I'm the best in Gold 4. We are going to see a wave crash in here. Breathe, respecting the potential dive from Tian. And WE. Just going to have priority on the bottom side of the map. I want to see a little bit more about Shanks here, Dagda, because he's been real quiet this game. I'm not going to see that, though, because Breathe is in a 2v1 right now. Here comes the rest of the squad. Beishang trying to finish off the kill. Breathe surviving, but taken down by the undertow. Tian trying to escape from the play, but there's no way out of this one. I wanted to see more from Shanks, and there's the kill.
And this may not actually be over for WE. You can see where Missing is positioned on this bottom side. They're potentially thinking of a dive onto LWX, but with FPX now moving down to try and counteract this, LWX should be able to farm up safely. But nice job from WE to get that double kill, and especially get some kills on towards Shanks, who starting to look pretty large and in charge in this mid lane. The Andrew's Anguish completed. Got to be working up towards that Archangel staff as well. Like, this is going to be a very big Cassiopeia that I'm not sure how FPX deal with.
Yeah, Shanks, if he can position correctly, can be insane. And also, one thing that we don't see that much Cassiopeia, right? So I think it's worth mentioning that specifically Cassiopeia versus Kaisa is a really nice matchup for Cassiopeia, because as soon as she tries to ult in and assassinate, you just get one shot. Speaking of, Doinb is actually going to survive. No, it gets taken down in the end. I got too excited. Breathe now. Taking a bit of hit from Tian. And I think WE will be able to back away with that pick. Very nicely done. And they got the flash to boot.
And this is actually WE just beating FPX at their own style. At the start of FPX, we're starting to get these kills going in bot lane. And now WE have said, right, we're just going to match you. So Beishang running all over the place, getting these ganks off, getting kills top, now mid, the roams coming through from Missing. Like, this is how you play against FPX. Don't, when you get a lead, take your foot off the pedal. Don't give FPX a chance to get back into this.
And I like it. I like what I'm seeing here from WE, because when you think back to last year, the style for this squad was very much fight in the mid game, find 5v5s, find ways to exploit your advantage and snowball from there. And realistically, the team hasn't changed that much. They changed the solo laners, but all that did was upgrade the 2 solo lanes. They certainly are still capable of playing that style, and the shot calling is still the same within the team. So it feels like maybe this is a resurgence from the squad again. Maybe the 2 weeks off is what they needed to get back on top of things, as Beishang going to be able to grab himself second Drake for WE. And with that, with a gold lead as well, things are looking pretty good for our red side.
Yeah, as you were talking about, like, WE getting back on form, though, this little bit of, like, map movement and fighting has actually given Jiumeng a bit of time to get back on as well. But missing now, maybe caught out, fails the crash down over the wall.
He's all right, though. He gets away with it in the end. Herald going to be used in the mid lane here as Tian tries to charge in as well. Gets a slow one to missing, but nothing really going to happen there. And the Herald should be taken down before he gets the second charge. So just going to be the tower taken in the mid lane. That is all 3 out of towers now, though, for FPX. They have broken open the map. They can start to take control of these neutral objectives unless WE finds a way to answer in the mid lane and in the bottom lane.
This is what I love about FPX, though. Honestly, I think they're one of the best teams at using any sort of tempo advantage that they have. So you see there, Beishang's on Dragon. Right, FPX, I go, we're not going to contest. We're just going to shove in this mid lane and use the fact you've got 2-3 members committed bot side to get this mid lane turret. And this is how FPX end up gaining so much of their leads in the early stages. It's just through these tiny, tiny windows that they're able to get these advantages.
Beishang just trying to 1v1 Doinb. Tian has stepped into the jungle and suddenly realized it's not just Beishang. He's got 4 different versions of him, and he's got 3 different teammates alongside him. Doinb goes away from the play as the recourse come on through. It's still 3 minutes until the Drake. It's just going to be a pick for WE, and maybe a bit of tower pressure from Breathe here.
Yeah, it will be the tower bot side for Breathe, and giving it a lot of gold back over into this Irelia as well, because don't forget, top lane turret went in favor of Breathe as well, so you already got the Blade of the Rune King completed, going to be working up towards, I'm imagining, the Triforce here for this Irelia as well. I think when you got Blade of the Rune King, the chase down potential between, and the attack speed that the Triforce offers you is so good against the Gnar.
It certainly can be. LWX actually managing to get in there and steal himself a red buff, so nice bit of cross map coming out from FPX. Let's take another look at this clip, because this is Beishang baiting pretty beautifully, honestly.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Tian go in there. Like, you can clearly see Doinb's like, I don't want any part of this. Like, I know there's multiple members of WE in this bot side. I don't want to go and contest that jungle, so I think a little bit of miscommunication there between Tian and Doinb, and it does mean that Tian does go across as an extra bit of gold into the back pockets of WE. Now we can't see that happen again, though, because if Tian ends up getting caught out in a situation like this, all the objectives are getting too valuable. Like potential soul point for WE, Baron on the cards, Nuguri fighting though.
Yeah, he's about to turn Mega, but won't find his window of opportunity here. Breathe, in the meantime, got that Scuttle Crab. So nothing to fight for on this bottom side. This is the difference between the first and second series of the game, though, isn't it, Dagda? Is that we don't even need a Drake to be up. These guys are toying with the idea of scrapping over that Scuttle Crab. And it's just held at arm's reach at the end of the play. Whereas last game, it was a little bit slower for us. Tian moving into the river, and Beishang going to respect him on this one. Does have the turbo chem tank, but not going to be firing on all cylinders, really. Not on his own, at least. But Shanks, however, look in his pockets right there. Leandri's and Seraph's Embrace finished at this point. He is a scary Cassiopeia. If he gets a big ult, if he can get a few E's off onto someone, he's going to melt health bars.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that I wanted to look at here, especially with that dragon in a minute and a half. Like, you've got that last Whisper as well coming in on towards Jiumeng, not going to the Collector that we usually see, going instead towards that Lord Dominic's Regard. This was what we pointed out with the buffs that have come through. This is actually a really strong item now, thanks to the crit that's been incorporated into the build. Now Beishang's going to just peace out, but as well for Breathe, he should be in a position at this stage where he's close to finishing that second item if he hasn't already. So I think in that regard, WE in a pretty nice spot to try and contend for this next dragon. Whereas on the FPX side, you've got the Collector finish just there for LWX. Doinb has finished 2 items as well. Like, they are really strong. They're just waiting on Tian to try and finish the Hysterics Gauge, which he just does. And now you're kind of in a spot where both these teams are so insanely strong, and this fight could be the breaking point for this game.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head as well with the Jiumeng build, where he's going for this Lord Dominic's Regard, and it means that, I mean, I think we've all seen those games where there's like a Samira and you're like waiting for the big ult to come out, and then they ult against a full team with full health bars, and it just kind of tickles them. The extra armor pen early, the fact that it still builds towards your IE passive, getting you towards that 60% crit, just feels so good for Samira. Nuguri taking a huge chunk from Beishang right before he turns Mega. Breathes in trouble though, has to flash. Stunned against the wall, but he's far away, so they can't commit to the play. FPX trying to start this Drake up as Breathe gets aggressed upon by LWX. Might just be able to swipe, but he misses the Vanguard's edge. It's so huge. Stun onto LWX and Beishang trying to finish off the kill onto the AD carry. The rest of WE arriving. Crisp happy to tank up for now, but not for long. Goes down, missing, flashes into the fight and just dies immediately, missing. What was that, my friend? FPX win the fight.
LWX's top 2 kaisas in the LPL. Like, that was insane. Goes for the killer instinct, gets the kill, and now they get the dragon as well for FPX. Beautiful play from the AD carry of FPX.
Very nicely done. And from the rest of the squad to follow up as well. And now FPX sitting pretty. Got themselves 2 Drakes. They've slowed down the soul point win condition for WE. And managing to once again find a timing advantage. What do we keep on saying about FPX is you give them a tiny little window, they will abuse it. And that is exactly what we've just witnessed here.
Yeah, and I hope we get to see this replay because LWX played that perfectly. He actually flashes the Vanguard's edge, which completely catches Breathe out, and then is able to burst down this Irelia before the CC comes in. We are going to get a clip of it here. So watch, as he flies in here, gets the damage, flashes away from the Vanguard's edge, and it means that Breed just has no follow-up damage. You can see he's ready to go in fully stacked to this Irelia. It's like, not a hope. Beautiful play from LWX, and sets up the rest of FPX so well to close out that fight.
So nicely done by LWX, and we keep on talking about Crisp and how exceptional he's been, but LWX as well is very much having a renaissance in this bottom lane. It feels like 2021 is his year. He's playing the Kaisa. We know how great he is on that Kaisa pick, and he's showing it here today. FPX now pushing into the enemy jungle. It's WE trying to defend their red buff. Tian really would like a slice of that action, but he's going to be forced away. Ragnarok used, and we'll actually get the red buff in the end. Now it's going to be Crisp stepping forwards on the Alistar. He's just taking hit after hit from Shanks, who's just free hitting away. Nuguri's about to turn Mega. I don't think he'll be able to find his way into the fight just yet here, because Beishang is going to keep him away. WE lose the red buff, but don't lose any lives.
That's a big overcommit from FPX though. Like, it's a red buff and you get the TP out of Nuguri with Baron up. Breed just goes back down towards bot side. He just forces this 1v1 against Nuguri, and Nuguri's now stuck with Gore Drinker and that Blade of the Rune King in Breed's back pocket. He is going to be so strong against this Gnar.
Speaking of the Gnar, Nuguri, you're very far up, my friend. I don't know what Nuguri was expecting there. He had lost all priority in mid. He had lost all control of the Baron pit, and he's pushing up towards tier 2. I don't think that's the play, my friend, because now WE are moving up towards this Baron pit. They're at very least going to grab themselves a Scuttle Crab. FPX are here, though. They're not going to let this go without a fight. In goes the Void Seeker. It's going to spot this one out. 8,000 on the Baron as FPX try to contest here. They try and move in for the play. Doinb has the equalizer. It's going to go down into the pit. They go. It's not going to be stolen. Taken by WE. Now the fight as well. The equalizer not doing enough damage. Missing, still surviving. In goes Samira. And down go the health bars for FPX, who are scattered to the winds. Beishang gets the stun. Nowhere to go. And Shanks, with 5 kills on the board, is finally here for WE.
God damn, WE just wiped the floor with FPX. The clean ace and a beautiful performance from WE, ripping control of this game from FPX. Baron in hand now. They're going to look to stomp through these towers.
And it feels good to see Shanks playing this Cassiopeia. This is the pick we were so excited about for Shanks, and he is showing up huge. The 6 kills already. He's on 3 items, and he is feeling it. And when you look at things like the Baron with a Cassiopeia, you take that down so damn quick.
Yeah, it's insane how quickly you can tear through. The Andrew's Anguish and this Cassiopeia. That's why WE start this up. They've even got like the Samira as well to just do so much work. And the Baron goes over with a nice smite coming through from Beishang. But the second you are in this pit, it's a disaster for FPX. Great ult from Shanks there. Shuts down any sort of follow-up and just unleashes Jiumeng to jump his way through this fight. Beautifully done by WE.
And completely shutting down LWX as well. LWX, the guy that has been looking exceptional in this game from the side of FPX. Beishang spots the control ward. Isn't going to stick around for it, though. It's missing just standing there. He's like, come on, try me. I see you, Chris. Why don't you come and give it a go, buddy? I've got a metal horse. What, have you got horns? I don't think so. Here are the ox. You're playing a bull. Over towards the dragon we go, though. 20 seconds until this cloud drakes up, Dagda. Nuguri wants to start a fight. He wants to find Missing. Won't be able to get it, though. Void Seeker lands, but Missing has about 1 million health in shield, so he's going to be fine from this one. Shanks actually going to reset here, but he does have teleport available.
Same with Breathe. And both of them here are just kind of moving from base. Breathe is holding onto his because he's trying to see if he really needs to use it before FPX are in position. Would love to hold that on for a side lane, but looks like he'll get there.
He's behind.
Just into the back line.
He's stood on a ward. He teleported in. He couldn't see the ward, I don't think. I think it's in one of those weird spots in the brush where it doesn't quite show up. Tian wants to go for the steal, but even just the presence of Breathe is enough of a flank to grab the dragon. Sole point now for WE. FPX in their jungle, and now the fight ensues on towards the chickens. This is the more important objective, really, and it's FPX that come out on top.
I think FPX there were kind of like, oh god, our mid lane is very much exposed, just managing to run across and cut off WE before they can threaten that inner tower. Chickens as a consolation reward, but definitely being able to hold on to that mid tower is going to be great. Top lane, though, is where WE are going to put the pressure next, and again, WE just running FPX around the map.
And this is what we expect from FPX. This is what FPX do to teams, not the other way around usually. But that said, we do usually see FPX find one small window to come back into the game. This is not an unfamiliar position for FPX, and they're one of the teams that is the very best in the LPL when it comes to these ridiculous comebacks. They're 6,000 gold down at this point. The Cloud Soul is going to be spawning in 4 minutes for WE. WE got the first Baron of the game. They're 2 towers up. Everything is in favor of WE right now, but you can never quite count out FunPlus Phoenix.
I will say, though, that like this is a very uncharacteristic FPX in just the manner they're playing. We haven't really seen a huge amount of like the mid jungle that we've seen for the last several series working. Sorry, not mid jungle, jungle support. Sorry, working together like we have seen with Bo and Crisp involved. Nuguri overextending in the top lane, making some strange plays. Like this is not an FPX that's playing to the same caliber as what we expected from them coming off of just before the break for Chinese New Year. So, and to give WE their due, this is a much stronger WE. Jiumeng and Missing still struggling a little bit in this bot lane, but Breathe on this Irelia looking amazing. Shanks having so much control from this mid lane with this Cassiopeia. The team fighting Lolo's looking great. This is what we needed to see from WE.
And in the defense of Jiumeng and Missing, they're against FPX. They got dived 3 times in the bottom lane, and now we've got to fight in the jungle as well. Look at this Nuguri. You don't get to play weak side when you're not on the side. That's called weak jungle, and you die in those kind of situations. Another pick for WE, and another opportunity for more.
And this is brilliant from WE, and this is what we expect from WE when they're in the lead. They're so good at finding these picks, and they're going to get it.
Well, they found themselves a team fight rather than a pick on this one. Equalizer comes down, but WE are just too damn tanky. Jiumeng is here. He's trying to stack up that passive 1 or 2 more shots, and he'll be able to start spinning to win. Jiumeng in with the Inferno trigger, and down goes FPX. What is that damage? Beishang charging in at the speed of light. Surrender now, or prepare to get bear slapped. Down the mid lane they go. Minion wave is here, and Missing, and Beishang can cut off the next one. This is at least an in-hit for WE.
It could be more. I mean, you've still got 30 seconds on LWX, 25 on towards Tian. They're looking to end.
They want to try and end the game. 30 seconds on LWX. In goes missing. The tower dive is happening, and the Inferno trigger burns through the health bars. Nuguri will never turn mega again as the triple comes through for Jiumeng. It's beautiful to see for WE fans as FPX go down in game number 1.
And finally, we get to see the LDL Shanks we expected. The guy that was a myth as to how potent he was on this Cassiopeia shows up against FPX. This was an insane performance from Shanks, from Breathe, and from WE as a whole as they're able to take game 1 from FPX.
Shanks, never play Orianna again. Forget Orianna exists. Just play Cassiopeia every game, please. I beg you. I want to see the Azir as well, because FPX respect banned the Azir. I think they had the same line of thought as me, as Shanks is probably pretty good at Azir, right? This feels like a resurgence for him in the mid lane. Definitely on the other side as well, though. FPX, not quite the same caliber that we're used to. And WE doing a really, really good job to match each and every single one of these fast little plays that FPX likes to make.
Yeah, I mean, at the get-go, it was going in favor of FPX, right? Like, I mean, we saw Crisp getting that really nice stop onto Jiumeng's recall, which really set up that first dragon and a huge amount of that bot side pressure. But the problem was the counter pick in the top lane going across the Breathe meant that Breathe had perma pressure up on that top side and really put a thorn into the side of FPX. And when you're now looking at mid lane in favor of WE and you're looking at that top lane, the bot lane kind of just gets a little bit of a rest because you've got to go and impact the map elsewhere of FPX, and that's where the crux of it came in. WE were much better prepared when it came towards Breathe and towards Shanks. And honestly, this has been something I really like about Breathe, is that when we talk about like not respecting cross-map plays or TP plays or anything, Breathe has been one of the guys who's been exceptional at preparing for that, and they're actually in a position as WE to turn those plays back over towards FPX and get this big lead for themselves.
And it felt like in so many of these fights as well, it was Breathe, despite being on this Irelia, was more of a distraction, as was Shanks, as was Beishang. It was just like, keep them busy for a little bit while Jiumeng stacks his passive. Okay, passive's good, go Jiumeng. Like, spin him up like a yo-yo and just like Beyblade him into the fight and watch him spin around and shred everyone at FPX.
Yeah, and you can see the damage there. Like, despite being behind, if you have a team where you're just like, cool, they're on the run, I've stacked that up, you're going to do so much work in these fights. And the entire time as well, you've got the protection from Missing, you've got the protection there from Shanks as well, because the second they try and turn, it's just Petrifying Gaze. What are you going to do about it? Now you're, I don't know, Inferno Petrifying triggered, whatever term we want to give that. It's just stupid. You can't do anything. Like, this entire thing is just done for. And well played by WE to kind of get this draft that just counteracted FPX so beautifully.
It was very nicely done from WE in the draft phase, in the game as well. They fell behind a little bit in the early game. FPX, I think the most important thing that they were able to achieve is that they took so many towers in the early game. They were able to take down all 3 of the tier 1s long before WE were taking towers. So the early game looked really good. It was just some of the decision making later on, and maybe not committing quite so hard to your chickens and to the scuttle crabs next time, because I feel like quite a few of these fights that went wrong for FPX were over objectives that aren't actually objectives, and maybe you didn't need to fight for those ones.
Yeah, there was a couple of them where I would have preferred to see like Tian trying to get a bit more involved. There was like Doinb roaming down towards the bottom side, and Tian is like, no, I gotta like focus more on my objectives. And I think that's where the difference was with Bo, where Bo was willing to give these up and actually go towards the plays. But hopefully when we come into game number 2 now, FPX can kind of reassess where they're at and go, no, we actually know how to play this. We play our style of game. We don't worry about what the meta is. This is FPX. This is how we play.
All right, well, FPX, unfortunately for them, losing game number 1. And WE getting back on that horse, because this is the first game win they've had in a little while. They're going to be feeling good off the back of that one. That is a 6-game loss streak that they've just halted in its tracks. Let's see if they can halt their series loss streak, though, right after the break. We'll be back in a few minutes' time.